Good afternoon, and welcome to NATCO Network's 18-day campaign to end violence against women and children podcast. In this empowering series, we aim to shed light on the issue of violence and advocate for a safer world. Join us as we listen to an expert as he discusses about case studies, explore strategies, and raise awareness. Together, let's stand against violence, support survivors, and create a world where women and children can thrive free from fear. Tune in and be part of this change. This is 𝐕𝐢𝐴𝐛𝐼, and this is day one.
My warmest greetings to all who are watching this podcast. I'm 𝐒𝐚𝐟𝐞 𝐒𝐬𝐚𝐜𝐞 the chairperson of the Gender and Development Committee of the National Confederation of Cooperatives, or NATCO, and the women representative to the board of NATCO, representing Oro Integrated Cooperative. The National Confederation of Cooperatives, better known as NATCO, is a national federation that represents and supports cooperative enterprises in the Philippines. With more than 904 cooperatives and 7.4 million individuals as its members, NATCO aims to empower its member cooperators and promote socio-economic development through the cooperative principles. Violence against women appears as one of the country's pervasive social problems. The 2022 National Demographic Health Survey, released by the Philippine Statistics Authority, showed that 1 in 5 women, or 18%, aged 15 to 49, had experienced physical, emotional, or sexual violence from their husband or intimate partner. Globally, about 1 in 3 women, or 30%, had experienced either physical and or sexual violence from an intimate partner or non-partner in their lifetime, as indicated by estimates published by the World Health Organization. In addition to being an offshoot of gender bias and a severe violation of women's rights and fundamental freedom, violence against women is considered a major public health problem as it affects a woman's attitudes, behaviors, and sense of self, limits her potential growth and personal development, jeopardizes her health, safety, and welfare, and impacts not only her family, but even her community. Hence, united efforts are highly needed to address, prevent, and eventually stop violence against women worldwide. Various measures and mechanisms have been employed and implemented to address it. In 2004, Republic Act 9262, or the Violence Against Women and Children Law, was passed to protect women and children from all forms of violence. By virtue of Republic Act 10398, November 25 of every year is declared as the National Consciousness Day for the elimination of violence against women and children, wherein government agencies are mandated to raise awareness on the problem of violence and the elimination of all forms of violence against women and girls. Another is the 18-day campaign to end violence against women that is observed annually from November 25 to December 12, as mandated by Proclamation 1172, series of 2006. The 18-day campaign to end violence against women supports the Philippine government's goal of protecting the human rights of women and girls by upholding its commitment to address all forms of gender-based violence as is enshrined in the 1987 Constitution. The observance of this campaign started in November 25, which is the International Day to Eliminate Violence Against Women, up to December 10, which is the International Human Rights Day, to emphasize that violence against women is a human rights violation, and to ensure better protection for survivors and victims of violence For the year 2023, the 18-day campaign to end violence against women will center around the recurring 6-year theme, that's on 2022 and 2027, United for a Vow-Free Philippines. This theme aligns with the UN Women's Unite by 2030 to End Vow campaign, highlighting the powerful impact of combining individual efforts towards a collaborative and united thrust for a vow-free Philippines. In January 2022, the International Cooperative Alliance Gender Equality Committee for the Asia-Pacific region submitted a recommendation to the ICA Identity Committee to include peace and nonviolence as cooperative values. Cooperatives across the region run various programs to empower women. Cooperatives stand together to end violence against women and girls. In the NATCO network, this term's GOD committee decided that one of the major activities is the daily podcast during the 18th Day campaign to end violence against women, because awareness raising is key to spreading the clear message of zero tolerance of all forms of violence against women and children, and to inform the victims of their rights and the support services that are available to them. So we're encouraging the COP members and then members to watch the daily podcast starting November 25 until December 10, to be hosted by Atty. Blue Ventosa, one of the members of the NATCO Gender and Development Committee representing Mindanao. We are hoping that with this activity, we'll be able to help eliminate all forms of violence against women and children. Thank you, and may God bless us all.
Important disclaimer. This podcast may contain content, language, and discussions that could be unsuitable for certain audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the podcast platform. Parental guidance is recommended. Additionally, please be aware that this episode includes discussions about violence against women. A trigger warning is issued, and we encourage sensitive listeners to exercise caution. Thank you for understanding.
So good afternoon, everybody. So this is day 1. We will be talking about the Republic Act 11313 Safe Spaces Act. So Attorney Blue, pwede na po ba namin kayong marinig? Anything that you would like to share initially about the Bawal Bastos Law?
Yes, good afternoon, good day, and good evening kung saan man kayong lugar at time zone ngayon. No? Welcome to NATCO and Silangan Multipurpose Cooperative and other affiliate members ng NATCO sa ating 18-day campaign to end violence against women. So, itong Republic Act 11313, parang nagli-level up lang siya yung ating violence against women and children. Kasi dati kung babae versus lalaki lang, dati sa subordinate against the superior, ngayon, level na siya. Pwede na on the same level kayo, rank or position. Pwede na rin ang lalaki magreklamo sa babae, babae versus babae, and lalaki versus lalaki. And kahit yung superior, pwede magreklamo sa kanilang mga subordinates. Yan yung parang bago ngayon nag-level. But still, the law still gives preference and yung protection to our women. Ayan po.
My first question, Attorney, will be, how does it protect women and children, itong law na ito?
So, of course, no, ang isang pinakabago talaga dito kasi yung mga other laws natin noon is only confined to yung ating physical spaces, no, sa ating workplace, sa ating educational and training institutions. Dito pinalawak na, kasama na yung ating public transportation, yung ating mga kalye-kalye, eskinita, and all other spaces na mga public siya, yung ating malls, churches, hospitals, and yung wala sa dating batas, yung ating online and virtual space. Alam natin na napaka-traffic na rin sa online, napakaraming gumagamit ng social media, kaya as much as possible, alam ko medyo mahirap naman i-implement, pero maganda na nasimulan na pati sa online at virtual ay protektado na tayong lahat.
How do we define, Attorney Blue, ang safe space?
So ang safe space lang naman is more on connected to yung may mga sexual innuendos, whether it be acts, words, or any gestures, no, that are unwelcome na hindi gusto ng mga subject nila, either the women, the children, the men, our bosses or our subordinates. So yun na yung pinaka-ano niya talaga na feature ng Republic Act 11313 na hindi nakikita doon sa ibang batas. So yun ang kanyang kaibahan, no, ang advantage na. And so later on makikita natin na stricto na rin pala talaga sa online space.
I was looking at the Republic Act 11313 and nakita ko doon na parang medyo mas may kamahalan nga talaga po yung mga parusa na ipapataw lalo-lalo na kapag nangyari yung act no po online. No, bakit po ba mas mahal siya or mas ano yung penalty?
Siguro ano rin, the lawmakers have also realized na mas grabe ang epekto, mas matagal mawala yung epekto kapag committed online itong ating mga krimen or ating mga offenses na nakakasira ng reputasyon ng ating mga not only the younger persons but also our mature women and men. Mas mabilis yung magkalat, mas mabilis yung pag-share at mas masakit at long term yung kahihiyan nila at yung yung kanilang physical and mental suffering. Kaya pinalawigan ng batas, mas mataas yung imprisonment and mas mahal yung mga fines and other penalties.
Totoo ba yun, Attorney Blue, na if for example online mo siya, like yung crime that you did, parang mas madami also na na parang batas ang malalabag mo, parang nagpatong-patong pa also? Like,
Tama, magandang observation yan, Wia, no? Because, so, ito kasing kapag nagkukwento tayo, nagbabanggit tayo ng mga Republic Act, itong mga acts or mga presidential decrees, these are special laws. When you say special laws, kumbaga, sa halo-halo, patong-patong, kung gusto mo ng special ice cream, special pinipig, additional barquillos. So, yung mga basic na mga offenses or crimes in the revised penal code, nadadagdagan. So, halimbawa, yung libel, nagiging cyber libel. Yung bullying, naging cyber bullying. Yung threat, naging cyber threat. So, kung dito sa Republic Act 11313, nambastos ka na, naninirang puri ka pa, nag-threat ka pa, yun, patong-patong na. Tapos, gumamit ka ng fake account. Ka ng mga other illegal activities. So, hindi lang isa, dalawa, tatlo, apat, lima, kung gaano kadami yung acts na-commit ninyo, na kung anong crime siya mahuhulog, yun yung ifa-file ng fiskalya sa korte. At yun nga, marami kang harapin, marami kang piyansa, kung may piyansa, mahaba yung penalty at mahal yung parusa at yung ating mga fines. Yeah.
Attorney, paano naman kunwari, di ba meron dito yung sinasabi nilang catcalling, bawal, kasama siya dun sa na-mention na bawal talagang gawin. No? Paano yun, kunwari? Ano yung mga definition natin ng catcalling? Like na pwede kong sabihin, ay, kinatcall niya ako, pwede ko na siyang kasuhan, ganon.
Generally, yun talagang hindi ko pa talaga kaya gawin, no? Yung pangsisipol na katulad na malakas na parang nagko-call ka ng subordinate mo or from men to women. So, kasi siya, parang for me, no, parang animals lang yung tinatawag ng gano'n, hindi talaga makatao. Pangalawa, lalo na kapag men against women, very, very degrading and insulting, no? Hindi naman siguro, I don't know if there are some people who wants to be subject to those kinds of calls, but yung catcalling is one of the acts or the gestures or the verbal na sinabi ng batas na na maaring violation ng Republic Act 11313.
I see. So, attorney, paano naman kunwari, ako yung nandun sa posisyon na yon na kinat-call ako, what can I do? What should I do?
Okay. So may sinasabi yung batas na kung saan tayo na subject ng kabastusan, pwede tayo doon dumulog, no? So meron tayo sa women's desk, sa mga sa kapulisan. 100% na ngayon ng lahat ng police stations ay meron tayong Women's and Children's Protection Desk sa barangay. Dapat meron din sila sa barangay. Then, kapag malapit tayo sa munisipyo, sa City Hall or sa Provincial Hall, meron din anti-sexual harassment desk. Dapat itong mga local government units natin. Kapag nasa traffic tayo, nasa kalsada, sa mga daan, lansangan, so yung ating mga traffic enforcer ay pwede na rin natin susumbungan. LTO, MMDA, or halimbawa dito sa Davao City, yung CTTMO, sila ay may kapangyarihan na umaresto. Sila ay pwedeng rereklamuhan ng mga kababaihan, kalalakihan, o kahit sino mang naging biktima nitong pangbabastos in those public spaces.
Do we have parang data already, attorney, na kung ilan na yung mga gumagamit nung nagko-call out na yung about Republic Act 11313 na parang naririnig na yung voices nila, yung talagang ginagamit nila, sinasabi nila, oh, that's violation yan. Meron na ba tayo parang data about this?
Specifically, wala pa talaga, Wina. But alam natin, ang pinaka-data lang natin ay yung mga cases filed in court o yung mga blatter, yung tinatawag natin na incident reports sa kapulisan. Siguro dito rin sa kabarangay. That's a good question. Alam mo kung bakit? Kasi meron tayo kapag yung dito sa 1.3 ay second time na nila ginawa at dinayolate itong batas na ito. So parang ano lang din naman yung ating driving violation na una, suspension, fine na 5,000, fine na 10,000, tapos iba-iba pa. Ganon din dito sa batas ito. I think baka makakatulong yung ating mga kooperatiba na magbigay ng mga ganitong datos sa ating mga...
Hello po, nandyan pa po ba kayo, attorney? Naririnig pa po ba niyo ako or nawala na po ba siya? Ayan. Sorry po. Ayan. Nag-off lang konti si attorney dahil mahina ang internet. Naririnig niyo na po ba kami?
Okay, I can turn on my Ayan, sige.
Yan. Alright
Can
po.
you hear me now?
Yes po, attorney. Loud and clear. Ayan po. I think
Sige.
meron tayo ditong mga slides na share si Richelle na maaari natin higit pang makita para makita yung ano po ba yung batas ng Republic Act 11313. Go ahead, Richelle.
Okay. Ayan. So, with your permission, Ms. Via, I'll now discuss on the surface, no? And maybe we'll go deeper mamaya kung ano itong mga Safe Spaces Act ng coverage niya. So, yung ating Safe Spaces Act ay yun, kino-cover lahat ng GBSH, ating tinatawag na gender-based sexual harassment sa kahit saan mang mga public spaces, sa educational or training institutions, as well as workplace and, more importantly, sa online space. So ano ba itong GBSH dito sa ating public spaces, no? So ang sinabi, ang gender-based sexual harassment in public places are committed yung unwanted and uninvited sexual actions or remarks, no? Napag-usapan natin kanina yung mga catcalls, yung mga high sexy dyan, yung mga iba pang mga remarks na regardless sa motive nila or ito ba isang prank lang or katuwaan lang, kasi masyadong stricto na ngayon yung batas about this GBSH. So, alin-alin ba mga public spaces ang saklaw nitong batas na ito? So, streets and alleys, yung roads and sidewalks, buildings, restaurants and cafe, public parks, schools and churches, government offices, malls and public markets, transportation terminals and common carriers. So pati yung mga sinasakyan natin ng mga jeep, mga bus, yung mga tricycle, no? And this not only for the land transportation, kasali ang air and water transport. Yung mga lugar na ginagamit na evacuation center, yung ating public washrooms, kahit private vehicle daw pero covered by yung app-based transport network service. So alam natin, meron tayong Grab, meron tayong Angkas, ano pa dyan yung mga apps na yan. Private nga sila, pero nagsiservisyo sila sa publiko. Then recreational spaces, such as but limited to, cinema and halls, theaters and spas, bars, clubs, resorts, water parks, hotels, and casinos, and internet shops. And last but not least, all other areas regardless of ownership. So this is openly accessible or offered to be accessed by the public. So meron tayo sa Makati or sa ibang mga lugar, let's say in Cavite or Davao City, yun ay mga private roads, no, or private alleys na ginagamit ng mga public passengers or drivers. So kahit ang may-ari is subdivision or a corporation of private person, kapag ginagamit ito ng publiko ay saklaw na rin siya na public space dito sa RA 11313. Ano yung mga acts ng gender-based sexual harassment sa public spaces? So yung number 1, catcalling or unwanted remarks, and sexist or misogynistic remarks. Ano ito sila? So si catcalling or unwanted remarks are directed towards a person, commonly done of wolf whistling, yung paninipol, misogynistic, transphobic, homophobic, and sexist slurs, as well as unwanted remarks. So ito parang galit na sa mundo itong taong ito, galit sa mga ating kababaihan, sa kalalakihan, sa ating mga kaibigang gays, mga lesbians, kahit anong sex orientation, sa ating LGBTQIA, galit siya sa mundo. Ito yung kanyang mga unwanted remarks. Itong number 2, sexist remarks or slur statements that are indicative of prejudice, stereotyping, or discrimination on the basis of sex, typically against women. Ayun, nagda-drive tayo, nata-traffic, para may isang kotse na hindi nakakausad agad sa trapiko or haba na yung pila ng mga sasakyan. Pagtingin, ay, babae pala talaga. Kaya pala yan, hindi marunong mag-drive, no? Kaya na-traffic. Ayun. So, isa yan sa ehemplo na sexist remark or slur na on the basis of stereotyping or discrimination. Then we have misogynistic remarks or slurs. Ganun nga, yung kagagalitan, no? Or parang kamumuhian niya yung women or yung kanilang belief na the men are inherently better than women. So, yung homophobic or transphobic remarks, yun, katatakutan or galit or aversion towards persons or perceived to be actually identified as lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, pansexual, and such other persons or diverse sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, or towards any person perceived to or actually have experienced same-sex marriage. Dati yung maalala natin yung talamak yung AIDS, no? Kasi mga lesbians or ano yan sila, homosexuals, no? Kasi yun, naggamit ng sexual activities or sexual intercourse ng same sex. Ay, maglayo tayo dyan kasi baka mahawa tayo, no? Something like that. Or maybe during the COVID pandemic, meron silang parang discrimination against persons because of their gender orientation or their sex. Yun ay isang ehemplo ng homophobic remark. How about transphobic remarks or slurs? Yun yung mga statements that are indicative of fear, hatred, or aversion towards persons whose gender identity and or expression do not conform with their sex assigned at birth. Okay, so meron tayong mga kaibigan, mga kakilala, like mga males, na they're really males, no? But ang sexual orientation nila is same sex lang din. So, ang mga nagsasabi nito, tinatawag silang bakla, gay, or binabae, yun ay isang ehemplo rin ng transphobic remarks or slurs. So, ano pa ba yung ating mga other sects of gender-based sexual harassment in public spaces? Yun, persistent, uninvited comments or gestures on a person's appearance, yung sa pananamit natin or siguro sa makeup or kulay ng buhok, pinasabi-sabi, or yung may kasamang may kasamang sexual base na, uy, ang laki ng boobs or ganun, ang laki ng puwet or ang lalaki masyadong bulging, no, ganun. So relentless remarks for personal details. Oh, hi sexy, can I get your number or can I get your FB or something like that? O saan kayo nakatira? So yun. yung statement of sexual comments and suggestions. Siguro itong nagpapapogi ito kasi callboy ito siya, or ito nagpapaganda kasi prostitute ito siya, or something like that, no? Public masturbation or flashing of private parts, groping, making offensive body gesture at someone, and other similar lewd actions. So actions ito siya. So alam natin na it's against public scandal din ito, itong public masturbation or flashing of private parts, or yung sa mga LRT, sa bus, no? Yung minsan sabi nilang nangihipo, yan ay saklaw ng gender-based sexual harassment in public spaces. So any advances, whether verbal or physical, that is unwarranted and has threatened one's sense of personal space and physical safety. This may include cursing, leering, and intrusive gazing and taunting. Ang magandang ehemplo siguro nito ay sa workplace or sa school or dito sa ating mga environment na meron tayong maraming kasamahan at meron tayong mga superiors na pinapahirapan tayo minsan sa ating trabaho, at meron din siyang mga sexual undertones, no? So yung paninirang puri or yung pangiinsulto, at yung minsan yung parang sa tingin pa lang ay huhubaran ka na or something, anong gagawin, no? So yan ay saklaw din sa gender-based sexual harassment in public spaces. Persistent telling of sexual jokes and use of sexual names, okay? So that's self-explanatory. And yun, stalking or conduct directed the person involving the repeated visual or physical proximity, non-consensual communication, or combination thereof, that may cause or will likely cause a person to fear for one's own safety or the safety of others, or to suffer emotional distress. So ito ay virtual and physical, no? So maaring sa iba through their emails or sa mga messenger, maaari kayong maging liable din dito. So ngayon, pag-usapan natin yung mga penalties. Ang penalties ng gender-based sexual harassment, and kung paulit-ulit na ba yung offender, ay tataas ba yung kanyang mga penalties, yung imprisonment at yung kanyang mga fines or other penalties. And nabanggit rito na dapat yung ating mga LGUs, ating government, local government units, ay dapat din may mga ordinances which impose severe penalties for the acts specified in the Safe Spaces Act, subject to the conditions set under the Administrative Code. So to the credit of Quezon City, if I'm not mistaken, that time of Mayor Bistek, no, si Herbert Bautista, siya yung unang isang local government unit na may mga ordinances that protect gender-based sexual harassment in public spaces. So meron ho tayong verbal at demonstrated na gender-based sexual harassment at yung mga true stalking and other activities. So we'll see, no? So kapag verbal, ang kanyang first offense is 12 hours community service. Dapat daw merong undergo siya ng gender sensitivity training and 1,000 peso fine. Second offense is the imprisonment of 6 to 10 days or 3,000 peso fine. And the third offense is the imprisonment of 11 to 30 days and 10,000 peso fine. Na dito naman tayo sa demonstrated gender-based sexual harassment. The first offense is 12 hours community services, inclusive of gender sensitivity training and 10,000 peso fine. Sa second offense naman, ang imprisonment niya ay 11 to 30 days at 15,000 peso na fine. At sa third offense, imprisonment of 1 month and 1 day to 9 months and 20,000 peso fine. Ngayon, ang ating GBSH or gender-based sexual harassment through stalking and physical activities ay kasali yung sinabi nga natin, touching, pinching, or brushing against the genitalia, groin, or breast. So sa first offense is imprisonment of 11 to 30 days or a fine of 30,000 pesos, provided that, ayun, mag-attend na naman sa isang gender sensitivity training, dapat ang mag-conduct ay yung Philippine National Police in coordination with the LGU and Philippine Commission on Women. And the second offense will be imprisonment of 1 month and 1 day to 6 months or 50,000 peso fine. And last but not the least is the third offense, imprisonment of 4 months and 1 day to 6 months or 100,000 peso fine. Nakasaad din sa Section 12C, specific acts and penalties for gender-based sexual harassment in streets and public spaces. So that is Section 12C of Republic Act 11313 and its internal rules and regulations. Ayan. So thank you for being patient and attentive. If you have some questions, you could ask us online during live, or you could also ask us during the replay and in our succeeding episodes of our 18-day campaign to end violence against women. Thank you and good day to all.